You ever met someone who seems calm, kind, and understanding, yet carries a hidden power that even the most manipulative people can't handle? Someone who can sense lies, read intentions, and protect themselves emotionally without losing their heart? That person is called a dark empath, and believe it or not, they are the one thing a narcissist truly fears. While most people get trapped in manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional games, the dark empath moves silently, seeing everything, feeling everything, and yet giving nothing that can be used against them. Today, we're going to uncover the secrets behind this mysterious, almost unstoppable force, the traits, the strategies, and the subtle ways they turn the tables on narcissists without even trying. By the end of this video, you'll understand why narcissists dread them more than anyone else, and you might even realize that the dark empath inside you has been waiting to awaken. So, stay with me until the very end, and if you feel called to protect your energy or unleash your inner power, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment sharing what part of the dark empath you relate to the most. A dark empath is a rare and powerful personality, someone who feels the world intensely and experiences emotions as deeply as any regular empath, yet carries an inner strength that sets them apart from most people. Unlike the typical empath who absorbs the feelings of others and often struggles to protect their own energy, the dark empath understands the delicate balance between feeling deeply and maintaining firm boundaries. They are fully aware of their sensitivity, but they do not allow it to become a vulnerability that others can exploit. What makes a dark empath truly unique is their combination of compassion and assertiveness. They can empathize with even the most challenging personalities, including narcissists, without being drawn into manipulation or emotional games. In fact, they often mirror the energy of the people around them, subtly reflecting behaviors and intentions in a way that exposes dishonesty and manipulative tactics. This ability to see through deception while remaining calm and composed makes them extremely intimidating to those who rely on control, like narcissists, because it undermines the very foundation of manipulation. Unlike regular empaths, who might become overwhelmed or drained in toxic situations, dark empaths stay grounded, aware, and in control. They know when to engage, when to step back, and how to maintain emotional sovereignty without losing their innate compassion. Their power is not loud or aggressive, it is quiet, strategic, and unwavering, built on self-awareness and a deep understanding of human nature. A dark empath can sense lies, intentions, and hidden motives with astonishing clarity, and they have the patience to watch, analyze, and respond in ways that protect themselves and, at times, teach lessons to those who try to exploit them. This combination of sensitivity, insight, and assertiveness creates a presence that is both magnetic and unnerving, capable of navigating complex relationships with ease while remaining untouchable to toxic influences. In essence, the dark empath is a master of emotional intelligence, using their gift not just to feel, but to understand, navigate, and, when necessary, defend against the manipulations of others. They are deeply human, yet distinctly powerful, carrying within them a quiet force that makes them one of the few people in the world who can truly stand against a narcissist without fear or compromise, and this unique blend of empathy and strength is what makes them not only remarkable but profoundly transformative for anyone who encounters them. Narcissists are experts at manipulation, charm, and deception, but when they encounter a dark empath, all of their tactics begin to crumble because the dark empath sees far more than most people ever can. While a typical empath might feel overwhelmed or confused by a narcissist's games, a dark empath has an uncanny ability to detect dishonesty and hidden motives almost instinctively. They can sense the subtle shifts in energy, the unspoken intentions, and the inconsistencies in words and actions, which allows them to understand exactly what a narcissist is trying to do before the trap is even set. This intuition is not just about reading emotions. It's about recognizing patterns of manipulation and anticipating them, which leaves the narcissist frustrated and exposed. Unlike others who may bend, apologize, or rationalize toxic behavior, the dark empath remains steady and composed, making it nearly impossible for the narcissist to gain any real control. Their calm confidence, combined with an acute awareness of psychological tactics, creates a force that a narcissist cannot easily overpower. The dark empath does not need to engage in arguments or react emotionally. Their presence alone is enough to disrupt the narcissist's sense of superiority. Every lie, every attempt at gaslighting, and every subtle coercion is met with quiet observation and measured responses, leaving the narcissist feeling uncertain, vulnerable, and, most importantly, powerless. What makes the dark empath even more formidable is their ability to mirror the narcissist's energy, not in a confrontational way, but in a manner that reflects back their own manipulation, forcing the narcissist to face themselves and their tactics. This mirroring exposes weaknesses the narcissist thought were hidden, and it often leads to them abandoning their attempts or escalating in frustration, only to realize they are outmatched. The fear narcissists feel is not born of anger or aggression from the empath, but from an understanding that their games no longer work, that someone sees them clearly, and that their usual advantage is gone. The dark empath's insight turns the tables, transforming what would be a draining or harmful interaction into one where the narcissist is disarmed simply by being met with clarity, awareness, and unwavering emotional control. In essence, the dark empath embodies a rare combination of compassion and strength, intuition and strategy, making them one of the few people capable of standing firm while a narcissist's manipulations dissolve around them, leaving the narcissist genuinely afraid of a force they cannot touch or manipulate, and this is why their presence is both unsettling and intimidating to anyone who thrives on control and deceit. One of the most remarkable traits of a dark empath is their ability to master emotional armor, an inner shield that allows them to remain deeply empathetic while protecting themselves from the toxic energies and manipulations of others. Unlike empaths who often absorb negativity and feel drained by others' emotions, dark empaths have learned to distinguish between what belongs to them and what belongs to someone else. They care deeply, they feel profoundly, but they no longer allow their heart to bleed for the ego of a narcissist or anyone who seeks to control them. This emotional armor is not about becoming cold or detached. Rather, it is about creating healthy boundaries that safeguard their energy without compromising their compassion. Dark empaths understand that giving too much of themselves to someone who manipulates or deceives is self-sabotaging, so they carefully calibrate their empathy, choosing when, how, and to whom they extend their emotional energy. They can listen, understand, and respond to others with kindness, but they do so from a place of strength, never weakness. In toxic interactions, their armor acts like an invisible force field, absorbing no unnecessary harm while reflecting back the emotional intentions of the other person, often making manipulative behavior ineffective. What sets dark empaths apart is that they do not need to confront every attack or manipulation head-on. Their presence, calmness, and self-assured energy are enough to protect them. This skill allows them to engage with others without being consumed by emotional chaos or dragged into unnecessary drama. Over time, the dark empath's emotional armor becomes almost instinctual, a combination of intuition, self-awareness, and deliberate practice. It is built on the understanding that their own emotional health is paramount, and that preserving it is not selfish but necessary. They learn to detach from the manipulative games of narcissists without detaching from their own humanity, striking a balance that keeps them grounded, resilient, and in control. In essence, mastering emotional armor is about turning empathy into a strength rather than a vulnerability, about caring without sacrificing oneself, and about navigating relationships with clarity, calmness, and unwavering boundaries. By doing so, dark empaths remain untouchable in situations where others might crumble, demonstrating that true power lies not in aggression or dominance, but in the quiet, steady protection of one's heart and soul while still embracing the ability to deeply connect with the world around them. One of the most extraordinary aspects of a dark empath is their ability to turn empathy into power, transforming what is often seen as a vulnerability into their greatest strength. While many people feel that caring deeply leaves them open to manipulation, the The dark empath uses their understanding of human behavior to navigate even the most toxic interactions with precision and confidence. They see the motivations, fears, and desires of others clearly, not to exploit them, but to protect themselves and maintain control over the situation. Empathy for them is not passive. It is strategic, deliberate, and highly effective. By truly understanding how people think and react, dark empaths can anticipate harmful behavior and defuse it before it gains momentum, making them almost untouchable to manipulative tactics. This doesn't mean they manipulate others. Instead, they mirror energy, set boundaries, and respond with insight, often leaving those who seek to control them feeling exposed and powerless. Their emotional intelligence becomes a form of quiet authority, allowing them to navigate conversations, conflicts, and relationships with a sense of mastery that others can only admire. Empathy, in this context, becomes a superpower because it allows the dark empath to see the truth behind words, uncover hidden agendas, and respond in ways that protect their energy without creating unnecessary conflict. It also gives them the ability to influence situations subtly and effectively, not through force, but through understanding, presence, and awareness. Dark empaths can hold space for others without being consumed by their energy, making them a grounding presence in chaotic or manipulative environments. They recognize that caring deeply does not require giving up their power. On the contrary, it strengthens it, because their responses are always informed, intentional, and aligned with their self-respect. This mastery of empathy transforms the way they interact with the world, turning potential vulnerability into resilience and emotional sensitivity into strategic insight. In essence, dark empaths are proof that empathy is not a weakness to be exploited, but a superpower that, when wielded with self-awareness and intention, allows them to navigate life with confidence, protect themselves from toxicity, and even subtly guide others toward honesty, integrity, and respect. By embracing this power, they demonstrate that true strength lies in understanding, feeling, and acting with both compassion and discernment, making them a force that even the most manipulative individuals cannot easily challenge or undermine. One of the most formidable abilities of a dark empath is their uncanny skill to spot narcissistic tricks instantly, as if they can see through the masks, lies, and manipulations that most people take days, weeks, or even months to realize. Where ordinary people may be entangled in gaslighting, subtle control, and emotional blackmail, the dark empath recognizes it immediately, sometimes in a single glance, a shift in tone, or the smallest change in body language. One look, one word, and the narcissist knows they're exposed. This instinct is not learned overnight. It is a combination of heightened sensitivity, deep observation, and an innate understanding of human behavior. Dark empaths have spent a lifetime feeling and sensing energy around them, and this attunement allows them to notice discrepancies in what is said versus what is meant, and patterns of manipulation that repeat themselves without anyone else catching them. When a narcissist attempts to twist reality, redirect blame, or provoke guilt, the dark empath sees it clearly. They understand the subtle art of gaslighting, the way a narcissist might slowly erode someone's confidence or make them question their own memory, and they are immune to it because they trust their own perceptions above all else. They know the difference between a genuine mistake and a deliberate attempt to control, and this clarity becomes a shield that protects them from falling into the trap. Emotional blackmail, a common weapon in a narcissist's arsenal, is similarly powerless against a dark empath. When a narcissist tries to provoke shame, obligation, or fear, the dark empath senses the intent immediately, processes it without judgment, and responds in a way that neither escalates the situation nor allows themselves to be manipulated. They do not react impulsively. Instead, they hold space for observation, understanding, and strategy. This awareness creates a subtle but powerful form of authority. Narcissists often believe they are untouchable, that their games will always work, but in front of a dark empath, their illusions crumble because the empath's perception operates on an entirely different level. They see the motivations behind actions, the hidden fears, and the insecurities that drive manipulative behavior, which makes them almost impossible to deceive. What is even more remarkable is that the dark empath does not need to confront the narcissist aggressively or verbally accuse them. Simply by maintaining calm, clarity, and unwavering presence, they reflect the narcissist's manipulations back in a way that exposes them without confrontation. This silent yet potent method of detection is far more disarming than argument or aggression because it bypasses ego and forces the narcissist to face the reality that someone sees them fully. Over time, this ability allows the dark empath to predict behavior, set boundaries preemptively, and navigate interactions in a way that keeps them safe, emotionally intact, and in control. Their skill in spotting manipulation is not about judgment. It is about preservation and clarity. They are able to separate what is their own feeling from the projected emotion of the narcissist, which ensures they remain grounded while the narcissist's schemes collapse around them. In essence, this instant recognition of deceit and manipulation is what makes dark empaths so intimidating. Narcissists rely on confusion, secrecy, and uncertainty to dominate others. But the dark empath eliminates all of that with their perception, intuition, and deep emotional intelligence. They see what others cannot, and in doing so, they hold a quiet but undeniable power. In relationships, workplaces, or social circles where narcissists thrive, the presence of a dark empath changes the dynamics entirely. Manipulative tactics fail to gain traction, gaslighting is rendered ineffective, and attempts at control are met with calm clarity rather than panic or defensiveness. The narcissist, who may be used to victory and submission, suddenly finds themselves exposed, frustrated, and unable to regain the upper hand. This capacity is not about winning fights or proving points. It is about emotional sovereignty and understanding the truth of human behavior so deeply that manipulation simply cannot take hold. The dark empath becomes the observer, the strategist, and the protector all at once, and in this role, they demonstrate a mastery over interactions that most people never achieve. Every lie, every twist of words, every subtle attempt to control is met with awareness and insight, and the narcissist instinctively knows they have been seen through. It is this ability to detect, understand, and neutralize manipulation instantly that makes dark empaths one of the few people a narcissist truly fears, because in their presence, the narcissist loses their power before it even begins. One of the most powerful aspects of a dark empath is their ability to embody what can only be described as a silent threat. Unlike the reactive individuals who get drawn into arguments, drama, or chaos, dark empaths remain calm, composed, and almost unnervingly serene, and it is this very presence that terrifies narcissists. It is not anger, aggression, or confrontation that unsettles them. It is serene certainty. Narcissists are accustomed to eliciting reactions, provoking emotional storms, and bending others to their will through intimidation or manipulation, but a dark empath responds to none of this in the expected way. They do not rise to the bait, they do not escalate situations, and they do not mirror the narcissist's drama. Instead, they watch, they observe, and they maintain a grounded presence that communicates an unshakable confidence in their own boundaries and perceptions. This quiet, controlled demeanor acts as a mirror that reflects the narcissist's tactics back at them while remaining entirely untouched by them. The narcissist, who thrives on confusion, uncertainty, and emotional volatility, encounters an individual who is entirely predictable in their stability yet unpredictable in the ways they respond strategically. The dark empath's serenity is not passivity, it is a deliberate, conscious mastery over their emotional state, cultivated through self-awareness, intuition, and deep understanding of human behavior. By refusing to be drawn into manipulation or drama, they strip the narcissist of the control they rely on, leaving them frustrated, powerless, and increasingly erratic. This creates an invisible but palpable tension, because the narcissist knows, on some level, that their usual strategies will fail. They may try to provoke fear, shame, or anger, but the dark empath's calmness acts as an impenetrable shield, absorbing no unnecessary harm and reflecting only clarity. Every word, gesture, or subtle tactic is met with a composed observation that exposes it without confrontation. This makes the dark empath an enigma, a force that cannot be predicted or controlled, and the uncertainty they project is what deeply unnerves narcissists. While others may panic, overthink, or attempt to placate the narcissist, the dark empath's grounded presence signals that there is nothing to exploit and no leverage to gain. Over time, this silent threat becomes even more powerful because it is consistent. The narcissist cannot wait for a lapse, an emotional outburst, or a moment of weakness to exploit. They realize that no matter what they do, the dark empath remains centered, self-assured, and emotionally sovereign. This makes the narcissist expend more energy, become increasingly frustrated, and sometimes even self-sabotage, because they are so accustomed to controlling others that they cannot fathom a person who refuses to be controlled. The dark empath, meanwhile, uses this calm power to navigate the interaction strategically, choosing when to engage, when to step back, and how to maintain emotional dominance without aggression. It is a form of mastery that combines patience, insight, and intuition, showing that power does not always announce itself with noise or intimidation. Sometimes, the most formidable force is quiet, steady, and unwavering. Narcissists, who often thrive on chaos and spectacle, find themselves unnerved by the absence of drama and the presence of serene certainty, because it exposes the emptiness behind their manipulation and the futility of their tactics. This silent threat is subtle yet deeply effective, and it is what allows dark empaths to maintain control in environments where most people would feel powerless, anxious, or drained. By embodying calmness, clarity, and emotional sovereignty, the dark empath becomes untouchable, a quiet force that cannot be provoked or manipulated, demonstrating that sometimes the most profound form of power is not confrontation, but the unwavering, silent strength that radiates from knowing oneself and refusing to be moved by the chaos others attempt to create. One of the most defining traits of a dark empath is their ability to set boundaries without fear or guilt, a skill that transforms them from being potential victims of manipulation into individuals who are emotionally sovereign and untouchable by toxic forces. Unlike ordinary empaths who may struggle to say no or feel responsible for the feelings of others, dark empaths recognize that their energy, time, and emotional well-being are sacred, and they protect them at all costs. Boundaries for them are not negotiable. They are a natural extension of their self-respect and inner strength. They understand that a boundary is not a punishment, an act of rejection, or a demonstration of anger. It is simply a statement of truth. This is what I will allow, this is what I will not tolerate, and my well-being is non-negotiable. For a narcissist, who relies on manipulation, guilt-tripping, and emotional coercion to control others, these boundaries act as an impenetrable shield. No amount of charm, intimidation, or subtle pressure can make a dark empath bend to the narcissist's will, and this consistent enforcement of limits is what creates fear in those who thrive on dominance and control. What makes this particularly powerful is the way dark empaths assert these boundaries. They do so with calm confidence, clarity, and emotional intelligence, not with aggression or drama. They do not argue endlessly or justify their limits. They state them firmly, once, and allow their actions to reinforce the truth of their words. This decisiveness and lack of hesitation communicates an unwavering strength that narcissists find threatening because it robs them of leverage. A dark empath does not apologize for protecting their energy, and they do not feel guilty for refusing to be drawn into manipulation. They know that prioritizing their emotional health is not selfish, but necessary for survival, growth, and maintaining integrity. Over time, these boundaries become a natural, instinctive part of their interactions. They can navigate personal, professional, and social relationships with a clarity and assurance that prevents toxic dynamics from gaining traction. This is not just about saying no, it is about understanding where to draw the line, recognizing potential threats, and responding in ways that maintain control while remaining compassionate and empathetic. The dark empath also understands that boundaries serve a dual purpose. They protect their own energy while simultaneously teaching others how to treat them. By modeling respect for their own needs and limits, they set a standard for healthy interaction that narcissists, manipulators, or exploitative individuals cannot ignore. This often results in a subtle but profound shift in dynamics, where attempts at manipulation fail, coercion becomes ineffective, and the narcissist realizes that they are powerless to override the empath's autonomy. Importantly, dark empaths do not set boundaries out of anger or resentment. They do so from a place of awareness, self-love, and strategic insight. This approach ensures that their emotional armor remains intact while they continue to engage empathetically with the world. The act of setting boundaries without guilt is a declaration of power, a silent but unmistakable message that their well-being is inviolable and their energy is untouchable. Narcissists, who are accustomed to exploiting the hesitation, guilt, or uncertainty of others, find this forthrightness disarming and frightening. Every firm no, every clear limit, and every moment of emotional consistency communicates that their usual tactics will not work. In essence, dark empaths transform boundaries into both a shield and a weapon, not to harm, but to defend, maintain sovereignty, and navigate life with integrity. Through this practice, they cultivate a deep sense of freedom, resilience, and self-respect, demonstrating that true power is rooted not in domination over others, but in mastery over oneself and unwavering commitment to one's own emotional truth. Boundaries, in the hands of a dark empath, become more than rules. They become a force that narcissists cannot penetrate, a statement that their manipulation ends here, and a testament to the quiet, unstoppable strength that defines their presence in any interaction, relationship, or environment. One of the most impressive and subtle abilities of a dark empath is their capacity to turn the tables on a narcissist, exposing manipulation and deceit without ever engaging in direct confrontation. Unlike most people who may react with anger, frustration, or emotional defensiveness, the dark empath maintains a calm, observant, and composed presence, allowing them to recognize every tactic a narcissist uses to control, intimidate, or confuse. What makes this approach so powerful is that it does not provoke conflict but rather dismantles the narcissist's power from within. The narcissist, who is used to holding the upper hand through lies, gaslighting, and coercion, finds themselves subtly revealed in their own actions, their vulnerabilities exposed not through accusation but through the empath's awareness and quiet intelligence. The dark empath accomplishes this by observing patterns, identifying inconsistencies, and responding in ways that make the narcissist's manipulations ineffective without creating overt tension. Every lie, every attempt to twist reality, every effort to provoke guilt or shame is met with clarity, measured responses, and an emotional steadiness that undermines the narcissist's agenda. In essence, the narcissist becomes the vulnerable one, unable to manipulate the situation, while the empath remains untouchable, grounded in self-awareness and emotional sovereignty. This process requires a deep understanding of human behavior, an intuitive sense of others' motivations, and a mastery of subtle communication. The dark empath often mirrors energy in a way that reveals the narcissist's own insecurities, fears, and tactics back to them, not as an attack, but as a reflection they cannot ignore. This mirroring is almost hypnotic. It shows the narcissist that they are being seen clearly, their games transparent, and their influence ineffective. Unlike confrontational strategies, which can escalate conflicts and provoke defensiveness, the dark empath's approach is strategic, quiet, and precise, allowing the narcissist to feel exposed without the empath ever having to raise their voice or compromise their composure. Over time, this ability to turn the tables establishes a profound shift in power dynamics. The narcissist, accustomed to dominating interactions, realizes that control is no longer possible. Attempts to manipulate, intimidate, or deceive are neutralized before they can take hold, leaving the narcissist frustrated, insecure, and increasingly vulnerable. Meanwhile, the dark empath remains emotionally intact, confident, and in command of their own energy. This skill also allows the empath to protect themselves from repeated patterns of abuse, ensuring that their relationships and interactions remain balanced and healthy. They are not motivated by revenge or vindictiveness. Instead, their actions stem from self-preservation, clarity, and the understanding that manipulation cannot succeed when it meets unwavering awareness and composure. The process of turning the tables is often so subtle that others may not even notice it, but the narcissist feels it deeply. They sense that they are being outmaneuvered, not through confrontation or aggression, but through quiet observation, emotional intelligence, and strategic presence. This ability demonstrates that true power lies not in reacting with emotion, but in understanding, observing, and responding with precision. The dark empath becomes a master of interactions, able to guide conversations, deflect manipulations, and protect their energy without ever engaging in overt conflict. It is this combination of insight, patience, and composure that makes them so feared by narcissists. The empath's power is invisible yet undeniable, subtle yet absolute, and this is why they remain untouchable while the narcissist, stripped of their usual leverage, becomes exposed and vulnerable. In essence, the dark empath doesn't need to fight. They simply exist with awareness, clarity, and emotional mastery, and in doing so, they transform every encounter with a narcissist into a situation where the balance of power is reversed, leaving the narcissist disarmed, frustrated, and ultimately powerless while the empath moves forward, stronger, wiser, and completely untouchable. One of the most vital lessons a dark empath embodies is the mastery of energy recovery and sovereignty, the understanding that true power lies not in trying to control others, but in reclaiming and protecting one's own energy. Unlike ordinary empaths who may unconsciously drain themselves by absorbing the emotions, demands, and manipulations of narcissists, dark empaths are acutely aware of the cost of giving away their power. They understand that energy is a form of currency, and once spent on someone who seeks to manipulate, control, or demean, it is nearly impossible to recover. This is why the darkest empath wins. They never give their power away. Every interaction with a narcissist or toxic individual is approached with strategic awareness, emotional intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to self-preservation. They recognize the subtle ways narcissists attempt to extract energy through guilt, fear, obligation, or manipulation, and they actively reclaim it before it can take root. Reclaiming energy is not simply a mental exercise. It involves deep emotional awareness, clear boundaries, and intentional practices that allow the empath to detach from toxic dynamics without losing their empathy or compassion. The dark empath knows that being drained by others is a choice that can be avoided, and by refusing to participate in emotional games, they maintain sovereignty over their internal state. This sovereignty is both protective and empowering. It ensures that narcissists cannot manipulate, provoke, or control them because the empath's focus is on their own energy, stability, and clarity. While narcissists often feed off chaos, confusion, and emotional reactions, the dark empath withdraws the very thing they need: attention, drama, and emotional reactivity. By doing so, they render manipulation ineffective and reclaim the power that others attempt to steal. Energy recovery also involves a conscious process of resetting, reflecting, and replenishing. Dark empaths engage in practices that restore balance, whether through solitude, mindfulness, meditation, or any activity that reconnects them with their inner self. This is not an act of avoidance but a deliberate strategy to maintain emotional health and clarity. They know that without such practices, even the strongest boundaries can erode over time, leaving them vulnerable to subtle manipulations. Moreover, this reclamation of energy allows dark empaths to move through life with confidence, strength, and emotional independence. They are not reactive. They are proactive in maintaining control over their emotional landscape. Narcissists, accustomed to dominating and draining others, often underestimate the empath's ability to protect themselves, and this miscalculation becomes their downfall. The dark empath's refusal to give away power transforms interactions, relationships, and even long-term dynamics, because they operate from a position of self-possession rather than external influence. Every act of reclaiming energy reinforces their sovereignty and diminishes the narcissist's leverage, leaving the manipulator frustrated, powerless, and increasingly exposed. This practice also fosters deep self-respect and resilience. By protecting their energy, dark empaths cultivate an inner authority that cannot be challenged or undermined by others. They know their worth, their limits, and their strengths, and they consistently align their actions with these truths. Emotional sovereignty becomes a form of invisible armor, protecting them not only from narcissists but from all forms of toxic influence. The darkest empath understands that true victory is not in confrontation or retaliation, but in maintaining a state of unassailable power where no one can control, drain, or diminish them. Every step they take to reclaim energy, every boundary they enforce, and every moment they refuse to participate in manipulation strengthens their independence and fortifies their resilience. In this way, energy recovery is both a practice and a philosophy, a commitment to oneself that ensures freedom, clarity, and unwavering control over one's emotional reality. The narcissist may attempt to provoke, entice, or destabilize, but the dark empath's energy remains untouchable, their sovereignty intact, and their presence unshakable. They understand that their power is theirs alone, and by never relinquishing it, they achieve a level of mastery, freedom, and personal authority that few can ever challenge. The darkest empath does not simply survive encounters with narcissists. They thrive because they never give away what cannot be taken without consent, and in doing so, they emerge not only victorious but transformed, embodying the ultimate blend of strength, awareness, and emotional sovereignty that defines their unstoppable presence in the world. The ultimate power of a dark empath lies not only in their ability to navigate, resist, and neutralize narcissists, but also in the profound transformation they undergo as a result of their journey. The path of the dark empath is not an easy one. It is forged through trials, heartbreak, and encounters with individuals who would attempt to manipulate or diminish them, but it is precisely these experiences that shape their wisdom, resilience, and inner strength. Where ordinary empaths may emerge from such interactions feeling drained, disillusioned, or victimized, the dark empath learns to turn every challenge into an opportunity for growth. They are not victims, they are the ultimate game changer. Every attempt at manipulation, every betrayal, and every emotional attack becomes a lesson, teaching them about human behavior, energy dynamics, and the importance of maintaining sovereignty. This transformation begins with awareness, recognizing the patterns, understanding their own emotional responses, and learning to separate their feelings from the projections and tactics of others. From there, the dark empath develops tools to navigate life with clarity, confidence, and an unwavering sense of self-worth. Their experiences with narcissists or toxic individuals are no longer sources of pain alone, but catalysts for empowerment. By embracing their dark empathic side, they cultivate the ability to convert trauma into insight, weakness into strength, and emotional sensitivity into a precise instrument of discernment and protection. What is truly remarkable is that this transformation does not diminish their empathy. Rather, it deepens it. They retain the ability to connect deeply, to feel profoundly, and to understand the emotional landscapes of those around them, but now they operate from a foundation of strength rather than vulnerability. Every interaction becomes a reflection of their growth, and every boundary, observation, and decision is informed by the lessons of their past. The dark empath's journey is also a journey of self-realization. They learn that their power lies not in changing others, controlling situations, or seeking validation, but in mastering themselves, reclaiming their energy, and moving through the world with intention and confidence. They become architects of their own lives, unshaken by manipulation, immune to deception, and capable of creating spaces where honesty, integrity, and emotional balance thrive. The transformation is both internal and external. Internally, they cultivate resilience, emotional intelligence, and unwavering self-respect. Externally, they command interactions, relationships, and social dynamics in a way that is subtle, yet unmistakably powerful. The dark empath learns to embrace solitude when necessary, not as isolation, but as a tool for reflection, recovery, and alignment with their higher self. They discover that the ability to step back, observe, and respond strategically is one of the greatest forms of empowerment, and that by mastering this, they can navigate even the most complex or toxic environments with grace and authority. Over time, their presence becomes magnetic, their influence undeniable, and their power unchallengeable. They are no longer merely reacting to the world. They are shaping it in ways that protect their energy, uphold their values, and allow them to thrive. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this transformational path is the shift in perspective that occurs. The dark empath understands that suffering and trauma do not define them. Instead, the way they respond, adapt, and grow defines their true strength. Every encounter that might have once caused fear, doubt, or depletion now becomes a stepping stone toward wisdom, clarity, and sovereignty. In essence, the dark empath's journey is the ultimate reclamation of self, a process by which sensitivity becomes mastery, trauma becomes insight, and challenges become opportunities for empowerment. They emerge not only as survivors but as strategic, aware, and unstoppable forces in their own lives. The world may never fully understand the depth of their insight or the quiet intensity of their presence, but the results are undeniable. They are no longer defined by the manipulations of others. They are defined by their own mastery, their clarity, and their unwavering commitment to their own well-being. Through this transformational path, the dark empath becomes a living testament to the power of self-awareness, emotional sovereignty, and strategic empathy. They show that true strength is not loud or aggressive. It is precise, grounded, and deliberate. By embracing their full potential, they transform past pain into wisdom, cultivate unmatched resilience, and step into a life where they are truly untouchable, unshakable, and unstoppable. In the end, the dark empath's journey is not about the narcissists they encounter or the challenges they face. It is about the emergence of a self-aware, empowered, and deeply wise individual who has turned adversity into mastery, and in doing so, becomes the ultimate game changer in their own story, their own life.